Today, for the very first time, this guy is going to be listening to the classic Pendulum album, Insilico. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another album review / reaction here on the channel. And I'm going to be super honest with you. We are slightly crunched for time on this reaction, so we're going to do something completely unheard of. My name is Patrick Musilek. This is Chris Parker. We both greatly love the band Pendulum, and mostly because of their album Immersion. Recently here on the channel, which we both think is like I don't know if it's a perfect album. I don't know if it's 10 out of 10, but we hold that album in very high regard, right? Mm-hmm. And so we recently did a reaction to Pendulum's new album that came out this year called Inertia. And I think we were kind of a little iffy on it. It's very much grown on me to the point where I think for a while I was thinking of it as my #1 album of the year. And it's going to be, I think right now, still probably in my top 5 for sure. Wow. But a lot of people regard this album as Pendulum's best album. It is, I think it's the most rock album, probably it's not the heaviest moment, but it's, I'd say overall, their heaviest album. It's a combination of the drum and bass that they were known for on their first album, which is basically purely a straight drum and bass album from front to back, mixed with this sort of rock, borderline metal, guitar riffs type stuff. And Chris has never heard it before. People have been commenting on that Inertia video that they want us to do some more Pendulum. We don't have a ton of time, so we're going to literally get right into it. So, Chris, let's look at the album here. We have Insilico. There's 10 tracks spread out over 58 minutes. The songs are much longer than they were on Inertia.
Yeah, they're long.
So I think I'm not even going to say that. We'll see what you think about the album. I don't know if you've heard any of the songs from this.
I don't think so.
And this is the first Pendulum album I discovered. I've told the story before, watching a WWE pay-per-view. They used the song, I think it was Visions, which is track 4 on this album. They used that song as a sort of like the theme of a pay-per-view. It was called Taboo Tuesday or something like that, where people could vote. It was like a digital, it was like a real-time digital thing that was really neat, where people could vote on the stipulations of the match as the night went on. As the night went on. So they wanted to get a song that sounded very electronic, very digital, very different from rock music, different from any other style of music. And you'll see when we get to that song, it's quite a bit different. I would say this Pendulum, Propane Nightmares on this album is by far the biggest song. It's got 73 million plays. And this other songs on this album that I love 9,000 Miles. I love the Tempest, which has 24 million. That's the final track on this album. It is a banger. But we'll get there eventually. We're going to start with track 1, Showdown. Are you ready, Chris?
Yep.
Also, I want to mention we're going to be listening in lossless on Spotify because Spotify just rolled out their lossless level, or their lossless quality
setting.
Music. So we're going to be listening to it in lossless. You watching the video will be hearing it after it's been condensed and rendered several times, but we're starting with a higher quality photo file. So we'll see how that goes. This is Showdown in 3, 2, 1. Really curious what you think, Chris.
Interesting. There it is. There's Pendulum.
This is the album that Chris Schoenberg holds in very high regard.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, this is the reason he enjoys Pendulum so much. This came out right around the time that we were in college together. This came out right around when Chris and I were actually both working on our solo albums. And so him and I listened to this album together, and he really liked it a lot. I believe he has a copy of it.
That's a surprise. They really know how to do the low end of Pendulum.
Oh, yeah. A lot of at this point, I have the DVD that comes with they did a live show with a live DVD they released after this, before Immersion. And so I know how they perform these songs live. They had a drummer with an electronic drum kit, and then they have a guitar player who's been with them forever. Hold on, this is a cool part of the song. The breakdown and the build-up. Here we go again. So switching from that drum and bass beat, the boom ta, to more of a four to the floor type thing.
Mm-hmm. Is that a real bass?
I would say no.
I would say no too, but there was like a clankiness to it that sounded kind of like industrial.
There could be real bass on it along with all the synth stuff. Mm-hmm. But what I was going to say is Rob, when he performs, generally he plays either keyboards on a stand or he plays a keytar. And
sure.
He can control the vocoder stuff with his keytar. So a lot of what you're hearing during the song, I'll point it out when he does it, is a vocal part that he's playing on the keyboard and singing into like the tube to do like he does several of the songs he uses like the talk box thing or whatever on it.
Yeah.
And then he also uses his microphone and the keyboard to control his vocals being put through some digital stuff. It's very interesting.
How much of his vocals show up on this album?
He sings a lot less. This is, I would say, largely a instrumental album, but there are vocals on almost every song. But like in this song, he started out with vocals and then not very much. This is before he got his confidence with Immersion. I've always said about this album, you want to keep turning it up because the music is just slightly lower than the volume of all the drums. And so it's kind of hard to find that balance.
Seems to be a common thing they do. Drums
yes,
being the loudest.
for sure. Yeah, they're definitely pushing the drums always to the maximum. Okay, and we will pause. So what was your first thought hearing the first song from this album? Or how did you feel about it? It doesn't have to be your first thought, but...
It sounds really good.
Yeah.
I mean, this is something I brought up in our last Pendulum video was like, I'm not really sure what all to say about electronic music on this channel. Mm-hmm. Like so much of what we focus on is like the recording and the different effects applied to things like that. And it's just like, when you start with everything in computer, you don't have to worry about recording. And it becomes all mixing, but everything's digital, so it's tough to be like I can talk to the levels, I can talk to the unique synth that they sort of have created that's very much the Pendulum sound. Mm-hmm. But I mean, if there's not even any vocals to talk about, so it's tough to know what I should say other than that was cool.
One thing I will say about this album is that there's a lot of guitar. So like there's a lot of guitar riffing that's happening, but the guitar is not, it's crunchy and distorted guitar, but it's definitely not like up in the mix like it would be on Self versus Self on Immersion. Yeah. It's way more subdued, but it is like in this song it's da 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 da, or the lead synth was da 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 da, but behind it there's that like next time we're listening to the guitars I'll point it out and you'll be like, oh well, duh, those are guitars, but like it is interesting to listen to it because they do feel a little different than guitars on other electronic rock projects. Like they're definitely more present than they are on a lot of electronic projects. And I think that's why a lot of people like this album a lot, because it is still the drum and bass that they loved from the first album, but mixed with rock in a way that at this time in 2008 when this came out, it hadn't really been done that much. Mm-hmm. And so, this is 7 years after Clayton's Cell Dweller debut album.
Oh, sure.
Which is very different than this. But, that's kind of, to me, like the first integration of heavy music with electronic music in the way that he did it. And
so the trend has started.
Yeah, the trend has started for sure. But I mean, I See Stars was also a band by this point, I think. So, there were bands doing stuff like this, but this is a little different because it's coming from the drum and bass realm. So this is still very much inspired by The Prodigy, which I think that they kind of went away from that inspiration on Immersion with the exception of a few tracks. All right, so on to track 2, which is different, and we'll see how different it actually sounds. In 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm curious to see how, because the new one had a bit of it's that same song again, fatigue, I feel like. Maybe not, but that seemed like the vibe, and I'm wondering.
Yeah, I'm curious how you feel about that on this album.
I always really have liked his voice. It's one of my favorites.
So there's a guitar riff. Kind of weenie sounding by itself. Mm-hmm. Played twice.
But I mean, it's clearly going to become something. Yeah, I could say this definitely falls into the Prodigy style.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And doesn't sound as much like Pendulum as I'm used to at all.
So that's a guitar doing that sort of lead part, but then the other guitars are just going, and the guitars do still sound pretty weenie.
Yeah. It's really incredible, honestly, to me, how very little I've listened to Prodigy in any real way.
Right.
And how often I hear it, it's like, oh, yes, Prodigy.
I know, right? That's their mark on the industry, really.
Yeah.
And I would totally be open to doing Pendulum albums here on the channel. So just let everybody
Prodigy
know that.
Albums?
If you want that, let us know in the comments. I've never
Prodigy
heard
albums?
Huh?
Prodigy albums?
Yeah.
Yeah, he said Pendulum, so I'm just checking.
Oh, sorry, Prodigy, yes. I've never heard their album Fat of the Land, which is the one with Smack My Biatch Up and all their big songs.
Firestarter, probably.
Firestarter, yep. I do have their album with the lips on the front that had a hot air balloon on it. That album's really great. But I think most people hate that one, so.
Yeah, this doesn't sound like Pendulum. If this is gonna be this, how much this variety, I'd say that this is already on its good start.
I'll be right back in a minute, okay?
Okay.
I had to change my shirt so that in the thumbnail, I am wearing a different shirt.
Yeah, fair.
Otherwise, it'd be confusing. And I was looking for my Browning shirt because Browning fans would know Pendulum, but I didn't have it. It was sitting over there where I thought. Listen to the electric guitar right here, that clean stuff. Really nice. Pendulum can make such pretty melodies and stuff. You know, we talked about it with our last album.
And just for the dynamics, the variety of what's happening even within this song seems to be a bit more open than the stuff that I'm used to.
Yep. And remember, this album was made with the intention of being an album from front to back. Unlike Inertia, which was just a bunch of singles put together.
Fair.
Do you think you like this song more than the previous one?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. Just curious. Keep that in mind as we're going through and try to like compare the songs, and you can have your favorite one kind of figured out. Yeah, I don't know if you noticed, but in the picture underneath us, there's a baby in the middle of the just kind of interesting.
Before we start the next song, I'm gonna pee real quick.
Yep, that's fine. While you're gone, I'll show everybody the booklet.
Okay.
Sinking in the sand. And these are not the lyrics to the songs. They are just sort of what's going on. So the song we just heard was written and produced by Rob Swire. Vocals, Rob Swire. Guitars, Peredur Ap Gwynedd, who is the longtime guitar player for Pendulum. And we got a lot of comments on our last video saying, hey, their guitar player's been with them for a long time. And he's an important part of the band. So I'm glad everybody pointed that out. So guitars are that dude. And then acoustic drums, Paul Kodish. And then they were mixed by Dave Boscombe. So that's kind of interesting. And we're getting to a really great song now. Personally, while Chris is gone, I'll say I really like this album a lot. I think it is, right now, I would say it's my second favorite Pendulum. Of their 4 albums, Immersion is definitely my favorite. And Inertia has really grown on me, to the point where it might be my second favorite album, but I think as it sits right now, the order of their albums would be Immersion, number 1, Insilico, number 2, Inertia, number 3, and then their debut album, which I can't even remember what that one was called. So here's this cool sort of like space photo that they have.
Talking to me?
Yeah. Here's this cool like space sort of photo thing that they have here.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a neat thing. And then it does have the credits listed in here per songs, but it does say for the whole album, Rob Swire, vocal synths production, Predur Ap Gwynedd is the guitar, and we had a lot of comments on our last video, Chris, saying that he's a very important part of the band, the guitar player, and he does write a lot of the stuff. Then Gareth McGrillen does bass and guitar as well. And then Paul Kodish does drums. Ben Verse is the MC, who I think only appears on maybe one song. And then L. Hornet was the DJ on this album.
Do they have the same amount of bass and guitar people now?
I think so. They tour with a bass player, a guitar player. Rob, who does a bunch of different things, and then their drummer.
Okay.
And they may even have two guitar. Maybe the guy who plays bass plays guitar sometimes, so there's two guitars.
Because I don't. Was there a lot of guitar on the new album?
Yeah. Remember they were trying to make like more heavier, like more metal stuff. I think Rob plays the guitar as well, I believe.
Okay.
But I think that it just kind of depends what they're trying to do. But yeah, there was guitar on the album.
Okay.
So this album has more guitar than is on Immersion, but on Immersion the guitar is more obvious when there is guitar there. And there's a guitar in like every song on both of these albums.
Okay.
It just kind of so. Okay, so I like that you pointed out the diversity just within that one song. I'm really glad because the one thing I was going to say was I could see you feeling like this album, maybe the songs go on for a little too long. You know, every song on this album is 2 minutes longer than the longest song that was on Inertia.
Yeah.
So just kind of keep that in mind. Okay, so we're getting to one of Pendulum's all-time biggest songs, and one of my favorite songs of theirs by a billion miles. It's absolutely fantastic, in my opinion. So this is Propane Nightmares in 3, 2, 1.
Well, let's go. Let's hear it.
Cannot wait for you to hear this. And honestly, the rest of the album. I think the first two songs on this album are the two weakest. So Pendulum likes to use trumpets and brass. They do sort of mariachi, sort of Spanish-sounding stuff. We heard a little bit of that at the end of the album on Inertia. And it also ends the final song on Immersion.
Interesting.
Yeah. Get ready to get exploded.
I was going to say, I hope this fidelity on this blows up, because otherwise this is pretty far away.
So that part right there, that's a vocal part by Rob. That would be him performing that live. Yeah. Four to the floor, not drum and bass.
Yep.
If you recall, in the last song on Inertia, the last lyric was "Bring it on home." Or no, it was in the first track when they were saying, we're coming back, it's time to bring it on home. This is what they were referencing, this song.
I feel like I've heard that melody.
You think you've what?
I feel like maybe I've heard that melody before.
Sure, it's possible. Like I said, this is one of their biggest songs, if not their biggest song. A lot more vocals. Actual verses. Bring it on. So there is a trumpet player and a trombone on this song. So the brass is real brass.
Cool.
Ride. Oh, I love it. Oh.
You know, I've been occasionally elements of this remind me of Muse.
Ah, I could see that 1000%. and then back to that low. Like everything's gotten sucked out of it. So those are obviously real drums. They have an acoustic drummer that plays acoustic drums on almost every song, and then Rob mixes it in with the electronic drums. Sonic soundtrack type stuff.
Yeah, some Genesis.
Oh, it's so heavy.
I like this.
And then the trumpets come in, it's just like, yes. And I love the way it ends.
Great song.
Like with the trumpet. Yes, right?
You know, there's a certain vibe, I don't know how to tell, but a lot of bands where you hear them at their best, like their peak when they were really crushing it, and then you hear new stuff, and you're like, what's missing? What's missing from this that they used to have? And you can feel it. Like this, even with as good as Inertia is, like that, the dynamics, and like, it just feels so focused.
I agree. Inspired.
Yeah.
Someone commented that on a recent video that I uploaded. I can't remember what it was, but it was something you and I had listened to. And we had talked about it being inspired or non-inspired. And they were like, I love when you guys talked about the inspired part because I feel like that kind of hits to the core of what it is. You can tell when someone is really inspired and having fun when they're making it, as opposed to someone just feeling like they have to poop out a song. And you really can. And I'm so glad you said that. And like with Pendulum and this type of stuff, like a lot of this stuff is just like repeating parts for like maybe twice as long as it would normally repeat in like a pop song. And like I could, if we replayed that song right now, I would enjoy it just as much. And I can't say that for a lot of stuff. So the fact that that is essentially pretty simple with really nice melodies and rhythms, and you can just listen to it over and over. Like that would be the perfect level in a song in a Twisted Metal game or something. You just hear it over and over.
That is a song that defines a band. Like you hear that song and you think, this is what Pendulum sounds like at their most pendulumed. And now everything else they have needs to sound like this. It doesn't need to, but like this is the core that I'm working off of.
And I think that that's what Rob thought too, and that's why he had all those mental issues of like of getting over himself and what the band was, you know, and what people wanted the band to be and what he wanted the band to be. And so, because I think,
I don't know if we talked about this in the last one or not, but something that I've been thinking about more and more is like all of the great creators of anything, there's a period where like the energy of youth and like ambition and stuff like smashes into whatever the next phase is. I don't know.
Maturity.
Something like that.
Yeah.
It's like, I call it the Jaws moment in life where, Spielberg's made some stuff and like he's now working on this thing and he's like, I'm going to make a big mechanical shark and I'm going to shoot a movie in the ocean. And then all of those things were absolutely hell on earth. And he never did anything like that again. But as a result, we have Jaws, one of the greatest movies of all time.
Yeah.
And there's just something that happens where like, it's not a combination of things. It's when ambition and expertise reaches the highest point that it will before it starts to get slammed down by education. It's experience, rather, where it's like, this sounds like this was somebody where like his ambition to do the thing and his expertise to do it, like the amount of work that went into like hiring all these live musicians and doing something different and like really squeezing the fruit to get as much juice out of it in terms of just writing a song. Like how old was he when this happened?
I don't know, but
20s?
probably in his later 20s, I would guess.
Yeah, and it's like that's what I've come to determine the 20s is mostly for people, for like creatives, is like that's when your wildest, most I will never do that again in my life type stuff happens. Because you just, youthful exuberance meets enough expertise without yet being stamped down by I keep saying education, but I really mean is experience, where it's like, Now Spielberg knows never to shoot a movie in the ocean, in water again, because it was awful.
Right.
And you just, you have to, there's always a point that happens before you start to learn the things that don't. And so often those periods of time are the things that bring us the best thing somebody ever made.
Yeah. You have to push it's like you have to push your craft a little too far, and then you have to bring it back.
Yeah. Which you only do because you don't realize
you don't know any better.
Why no one has done that yet.
Exactly. See, it's like to me, that sounds like every Stanley Kubrick movie, right?
Yeah.
And it's why it's so tragic why he died so young. But if he would have lived and started to make crap, would we think of him as highly, as regard him as highly as we do now? You know what I mean?
And it's not even, I wouldn't even say crap. It just becomes, there's a certain level of safety.
Yeah.
That comes when you lose energy or you remember how terrible something was, so you don't want to do it again.
Right.
And it's like, I don't know, but that song sounded like somebody firing on all cylinders before. Like, I can imagine the experience of making this album is like, oh, that was a lot of work. And then, by virtue of learning that just through life, it's like, well, the next thing we do, that was a lot of work. I don't want to do that much work again. So...
And it's funny you say that too, because then the next album they made was Immersion, which I think was way more difficult than this one.
Interesting.
But I definitely think that you're right. This is sort of them firing on all cylinders. Okay, so speaking of firing on all cylinders, now we're to track 4, Visions. This is, I believe, the first Pendulum song I ever heard. So, are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
This is Visions in 3, 2, 1. I love the lyrics right here. Slot machine.
Nice.
So what he says there is, well, whatever. But my line that I love there is he goes, it stops and he goes, I'm gonna be a superstar. Like, I love it. I love it. Completely different sounding kick on this song.
Yes. It's woofier.
Yes.
Dum, dum. Think it's real? No way.
No. This song, I think they compromised the low end and the mid range so that you could have that crazy vocoder sound in there. Like, they are focusing on that. They want you to hear that.
I like this.
Yep. The delays on the side. Nice clarity. The only thing happening on the far sides.
And this is a totally different song than the last two.
Yep.
I feel like even Immersion has a lot of sameness problems. Like, it's an exhausting album.
I think that one's exhausting within songs. I think from song to song, it's very diverse, but some of the songs outstay their welcome a little bit too much. Cymbals, not getting lost.
But they get lost in the new one? I think I remember that.
I think a little bit, but also just like so much stuff. Like, we were listening to I See Stars, the cymbals are non-existent.
That's right. That's the one that
yeah. And this is so clearly guy in charge of the mix is self-conscious about his vocals. You know, because the vocals across the whole album could be like 5 dB louder.
Yeah.
And sit on top of the song a little bit with the drums, but they don't. And as we've said before, I think a lot of that is because they want the drums, they want you to turn up the music so that it's the proper volume for the music, and then the drums are just attacking you constantly, you know?
Yeah. Getting hit in the face.
And that's what I constantly do with this album. I just turn it up until I can hear everything, and then the drums are just the loudest ass thing I've ever heard in my life, and it's wonderful.
Yeah.
You know? So I'll let you know now, this is not my favorite song of theirs.
No, this song is having a I'm not sure what else to do with myself kind of problem right now.
Yes.
Which,
Well, they did something though. This is what's missing from the new album. The breakdown with nothing and then the build back up. Because that would make the songs too long. There's more patience in these songs.
I like that bass sound.
Weakest song on the album so far?
Yep.
Yeah. I forgot to ask last time. Do you think is your favorite song on the album, or do you think the best song is track 3 then so far? Propane Nightmares?
So far, yeah.
Okay, I was curious because I know you said you liked track 2, I think a little better than track 1, and then obviously track 3. So I'm just
track
curious.
3 is definitely flagship so far.
Yeah. I'm just curious because the last 3 songs on this album are like fantastic. My favorite song on this album is track 6. So so I'm really curious what you end up enjoying. So, we talked about that.
That's not a very popular one either, which is interesting.
No, Well, I talked to you about that song a lot before. That's the one where it has synthetic vocals in it for the verses. So
cool.
And I was like, I'd never heard anything at that point, but you'll see when we get there. But before that, we have Midnight Runner, and this is almost a 7-minute long song. So we'll see if this one outstays its welcome. You ready for it?
I am.
This is Midnight Runner in 3, 2, 1. I gotta say, of all the albums we've listened to, I'm like I feel very privileged to hear this with you for the first time.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah, it's very fun. Like, this is a special album, and now that you're hearing it, you can listen to it in the future, which I think you will do a lot.
Yeah. I mean, the amount of vocals on this album so far is not super minimal, I think.
Right, okay, good.
I like the percussion in this.
Okay, so this song written and produced by Rob Swire, bass guitar, Rob Swire, acoustic drums, Paul Kodish. So no guitar on this song that's listed.
There's a lot of percussion in this song.
Yes.
But they're also different. A little bit of tin can, a little bit of drum, like trash can, a little bit of bongo.
Tambourine.
Oh, yeah. And this is different. This is different from all the other songs.
Piano. This is a bit more chill, even though it's so fast. It's got a chill vibe. I love those little pretty things in the background. Do-do-do-do-do-do.
Yeah, there's the where we push the pendulum button for the drums.
Yep. I think that is Rob doing the. I think that's Rob doing that.
Really?
Yeah. I love the piano.
That's a very subtle element. That's great.
Yeah. Chill vibe gone. I would love Rob. I don't want him to actually do this because it would probably break his soul, but I want him to score an action movie.
That'd be awesome.
It would be really cool. Or a video game.
Oh yeah, what would that even be?
Just, I mean, even if it was like a Need for Speed or something like that, you know, BT's done the soundtrack for a lot of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I feel like electronic music lends itself to that, and, you know, doing like menu music and transition music and scores for like little cutscenes and stuff. All the music in the game that's not like the soundtrack to the game.
Even something like Shapes and Beats.
Yeah.
Which is a great, almost nothing game.
Mm-hmm. Aliens are attacking. It's Mars attacks.
Ark, 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 ark.
I've never
Whoa.
seen it.
That is the alien from Mars. Mars Attack. I was totally kidding. I forgot that was in this song. It's unsettling that, you know, because you're sweeping.
It's almost air raid.
Yeah. Because anytime you sweep from one note to another note, you're going in through tones that are not in the key, you know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it always feels unsettling to do like a bend or a sweep or like a, you know, a sweep like that. A slide. That not sweep, slide. That's the term I was thinking of, a slide.
Yeah. Bender slide.
Yeah. When you're making electronic music, that's kind of referred to as the polyphia of it. So if you have if say you're playing a note on a keyboard, right, like a C or whatever, and then you hit another C above it, most keyboards, most synth stuff is programmed to cut off the bottom note and to play whatever the higher note is, right? So if you played a chord, it wouldn't work. It just plays the highest note.
Oh.
But if you up the polyphia, that means you can up it up to like 12 or whatever so that you can play 12 tones at the same time, right? But then the thing is, if you have only one note selected, you can have it selected so that it slides from one note to the other, and that's how you get those kind of like type things.
Cool. Yeah.
And so you can really do funky stuff like that, and it's really fun to play around with that stuff. Because then you can select the speed with which it does, and like you can hold the lowest note on a keyboard and then the highest note, and it's like, yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen anything that I've worked with that operates that way.
Yeah, I've done really some fun stuff like that. So, okay, so how did you feel about that one?
I mean, it was cool. I think it probably could have been about 2 minutes shorter, but
yeah. Well, you know, at about the like 5-minute mark, it totally changed and never went back. You know, they didn't do that piano part again. Yeah. And then the last like 30 seconds are just like sort of sound effects. So it's kind of, it's an interesting thing. It's fun going into the next track though then. So, so let's just get right into that. This is the other side. This is the one that is my favorite song on this album. As you pointed out, it's not one of the more popular ones, but it is, you know, a lot of the songs have 5 million. This one has 10 million. Obviously, Propane Nightmares has 73 million. And then Granite, which is a song that a lot of people really like. And then the final song, The Tempest, which is just... So let's just get into the other side. This is the one that I mentioned has synthetic vocals that were created for the verses. So
yeah, I look forward to that.
Yeah. I think you'll find it underwhelming compared to like today's what AI can do now. But this is 2008, remember? So, all right. In 3, 2, 1. It's no Hitsune Miku. I'll tell you that. This might be like my number one top 5 Pendulum songs, I would say.
This is good.
Oh, yeah. So subtle, the things in the background. What are you thinking?
I just, I don't know.
This is all talk box.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and there's also like background vocals too. Listen to the bass and the guitar in the middle.
This is so...
That's a metal riff.
Yeah. This is just so far from a Pendulum song, but while still being one.
Yeah.
Vocals definitely need to be louder.
I love that.
Stop that.
Sorry.
I can't hear it when you do it.
So cool. Cowbell. I feel like this sounds
Still?
like Pendulum. No.
It does.
Just,
Like I said, it sounds the least like them without while still being there.
I see. Yeah, the cowbell's still in there. It's not as obvious as it was in that little break between.
Yeah. And it's funny too how often you can take a verse, have it be a thing, do it again with cowbell, different.
Oh, yeah.
Very Daft Punk vocal
I love
effects.
it. It's so good to me. And when you see him do it live, like, you know, he's singing all this crap. He looks like an idiot with his mouth over, and then he's
over
got
the tube.
and he's playing this guitar. He looks like the biggest nerd and is the most badass dude on the planet. You know, he's like sucking on the microphone, got the tube way up his face. It's so awesome. I love it. It's so great. But even despite that, that is such a cool song. I love how it's got time to breathe at the beginning, and then when it kicks in and it's just the drums, and then you kind of hear that like little string part, that dum 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 part. Oh, it's so cool. And
It's just got so much character. All the songs do.
yeah, and how did you feel then about the sort of spoken part? So that's the part that he like typed it into a whatever, and
Like a speak and spell.
yeah, well, kind of, but like, you know, there's a female voice on the right, male voice on the left, and I think
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, Microsoft Sam has been around for a long time. So
I know,
the
I
technology is definitely there, but
I
I don't know. I just don't, I don't really care.
I think it's kind of cool. I like how he edits it and like makes it into a thing, and it seems like normally, you know, I hate talking in songs, and that's literally all that is just talking. But the fact that it's synthetic and he created it, I just think is really cool. I remember being in college and messing around with a website that I found that was started by some university where kids. I actually used it on my first album which came out in 2008, actually same time. So I'm just as good as Rob Swire. I could kick his ass. But you could type in whatever you could type in whatever you at the time. This kids they created it for some class, but like you could choose a voice and an accent and then type whatever you wanted, and it would say it, and then you could save the file as like a WAV file. And I did that for several things, and I have it's on my album.
That's fun.
My album, like there's several songs that have that featured in it, which is actually, now that I think about it, is really funny because I made that whole album probably before I heard who Pendulum was ever. So again, yeah, I could kick Rob Swire's ass. I'm way better producer than him. Come at me, bro. Let's collab. Let's do a collab.
Yeah, a Battle of the Bands collab.
So did you definitely not your favorite though on the album?
Oh, I didn't say that. I thought that was great.
Okay.
No, it had
Good.
I don't. I love the dynamics. The way that like every song is different enough.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, I guess I must not remember the new one, Inertia, super well, but I just remember like that quintessential Pendulum drum and bass, like that sound it's in every song, and it's relatively similar in all the songs, and this one just feels like it's got more character to it. There's more ideas in each song.
It's also a lot more cohesive, this album.
Yeah.
Like, it's very cohesive. The sounds they're using are similar. The dynamics are crazy. Like, I do wish that some of the parts would be pulled up a little bit, but they do that on purpose. And we're going to get to a song in a little bit where it's very annoying. And then you realize what they're doing. And then when the song fully comes in and you're like, okay, I understand now why the first 2 minutes of this song were so quiet.
Oh, okay.
It was like a bug playing it.
Interesting.
But,
okay.
So we'll get there. But first, we have the track Mutiny. Are you ready for Mutiny?
I am.
In 3, 2, 1. If I was going to be in a fight, I would want this album playing. Just to let everybody know, the tiniest Girl Scout could kick my ass so easily, it wouldn't even be fair. So when I say in a fight, I'm imagining getting my ass kicked to this music.
Yes, and as long as you're listening to this, it's still okay.
Yes, exactly, because how could you be upset when you're listening to this? This type of thing with the lead synth, the this is all over their first album. All over it. Like lead synth. Their first album doesn't have as much guitars. I'll let you hear it.
And like this, like, whatever this synth is, it has a very, like, something about it reminds me of like a baseball game.
Okay.
And I consider it to be Pendulum's most grating sound.
Oh, interesting.
Like it wears out its welcome the fastest.
Interesting. Oh, see, this is, to me, that's like the quintessential Pendulum thing, is that kind of lead synth
but
thing.
Like they have hardly used it in this album so far.
Okay. See, to me, that is, like I said, much more their first album, and I equate it with like high-end energy electronic music from like racing games and stuff. Like I said, like Gran Turismo would have that kind of crap in it. Need for Speed, sports, sports games and stuff would definitely have that type of stuff of thing. Ridge Racer, like.
Yeah.
This song definitely has more of the acoustic drums mixed into it. This is awesome.
This is great. This is totally different.
We've entered Justice territory all of a sudden. The guitars sound a lot more guitar-y in this. When I was visiting Cody this weekend, I played Rock Band for the first time. Someone making this entire album into a Rock Band songs would be really fun.
That's funny you just played it for the first time. Like, no Guitar Hero ever either?
I played a little bit of Guitar Hero at a friend's house, but I never owned any of those games.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I don't know why. Probably because I could play the real guitar. Very minimally and terribly, but I was always like, I don't know how to do that. I can play the real song. I never could, but I love me some frequency and amplitude.
Yeah.
Okay. I say we go into the next song.
Okay.
The next song is... I'm not even going to say anything. I'll let you do the talking.
That song had a little bit of vocals in the beginning, right? The one we just
Just
heard?
a little bit. The on a nation.
Yeah.
And then
I
the
don't think
crazy...
anything's been wholly instrumental since, like, from beginning to end.
You're right. There hasn't been any song without any vocals.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. Sit back for this one.
Yeah, once you start getting the melody and you're like, wait, we're supposed to play the whole song first. Oh, that sounds nice.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, this album really does sound like ideas, and then we went to a studio and then we made the album based on all of our ideas. Oh, listen to that.
I knew you were gonna love this.
But it's like, do we have the full volume of the song yet? Like,
I know, and that's a question, isn't it? I love that intro of that song because you're like, surely it can't go on any longer. And
right?
It does. I love it, though. I love it. I would love for a like rock band or metal band to do a cover of this entire album with a different style. Just it's such beautiful, wonderfully crafted music, and I'm not saying I want it changed. I would love to hear a different interpretation of this.
yeah.
If this video gets a lot of views, you know what we have to do. We have to listen to their first album.
Well, yeah.
I mean, but could you guys watching the video?
Pendulum.
Could you guys watching the video imagine Chris listening to Tarantula or Propane Nightmares or Drive?
Wait, just listen to Propane Nightmares.
Oh, sorry, not Propane Nightmares. Propel. Oh shoot, I gotta look it up now. I'm a dummy. You're right. You're correct.
I would hope so.
Oh, Fasten Your Seatbelt is the one I was thinking of. But also Girl in the Fire.
Oh no, this one had vocals too.
It had at the very beginning a little.
And it's weird because like the way that it came up to full volume or full fidelity or whatever was so understated. It's like, when did that even happen?
Yeah. This is one of my favorite songs on the album.
This is really great.
Yeah. All of a sudden, this deep in the album, you get acoustic guitar, and it's just wonderful. And then another sort of sonic synth lead. I wish they would have more stuff like this. You know, there were some really beautiful moments on Inertia, but nothing like fidelity-wise like this, and like you said, the creativeness of like the ideas and stuff. Inertia didn't really have much of that. It was a lot of the same, and each song felt like its own thing.
Yes.
But the way the last like 4 songs on this album kind of flow and connect and get big and small, and it's just so masterful. And
that synth too is so, it's like, that's a very like something very 80s about this melody synth.
Yeah. Yep. 1000%. This is like a prog song type thing.
Mm-hmm. It's another one that probably could have used like maybe 2 minutes out, but
oh, interesting. Okay, I wish he would have had some vocals in the middle there.
Yeah,
over the, because his voice would have fit really well over the top of that like acoustic guitar part. We'll pause it then. So that song, I was waiting for you to get to that because at first, when I first heard that song, it made me so angry. I was like, "What is this doing?"
Quiet.
Why? Yes. And I was just like, why did they do this? Why ruin this? Like, it's so cool at the beginning, and then these little things come in, and every time it goes, and then you think that it's going somewhere, and then for like a minute and 40 seconds. Mm-hmm. And then it kicks in, and there's a bass, and he's singing, and it's still 10 dB too low, and you're like, what is going on? And then the acoustic guitar kicks in, and you're like, oh, what a breath of fresh air. And then when the drums kick in, you're like, and over time, I've grown to really appreciate it, and I've accepted that they did that way for a reason, and it's to make it more impactful when it kicks in. And so I really enjoy that song, and at this point, I don't think I would change the way that they did it at all. I think I like the way that it is. So
yeah.
Okay, now we're on to Granite, which is another one of their big major songs. A lot of people think of this as another one. This is not my favorite one, but it is shorter, more singly, I would say, for them. So this is Granite in 3, 2, 1.
So much diversity in the style.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a theremin? It can't be a theremin.
Could be.
I don't know what to call that.
It could just be a synth they programmed.
Fair, yeah.
No, I take it back. I like this song too. Mm-hmm. I like this whole album.
And now it's like there's that pendulum.
The pendulum
again.
button.
Yep.
No guitars in this, so I mean there was there, but nothing really here. I wonder if he remixed this now, if it would sound a lot different. You know? Like from the ground up remixed it.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get a 20-year remix. I feel like this one's isn't mixed as well as the rest of the album. Like, this is the lowest quality we've heard.
The vocals are really low.
Yeah. And the guitar things or whatever is sort of doing something on the sides. And it doesn't have that impact that the other songs have.
There's something, it almost feels high-passed.
Yeah. The kick,
like
the low frequencies, the kick isn't hitting as big. Maybe this is the first song he did for the album. Sorry, earlier when I was talking about their first album, I said Drive. That's a song on their new album. That's my favorite song. I meant the song Slam. Sorry, everybody. There are actually 2 songs on that album that I've never heard because I have the British version that has 2 songs on it that are not included on the American version, but the American version, I believe, is the one on there. It's got, the one they have is all the songs on there. So.
Oh, okay.
So if this video gets some nice views and people want it, we'll go back and listen to their first album, which I think Chris will find a little bit more boring because it's all drum and bass. But it's got a lot of really cool moments on it. The songs just last a little too long.
I do like listening to albums in reverse a lot because it's easier to see the seeds of the thing that you know to exist.
Yeah. And in our Inertia video, there were people mentioning that a lot of people apparently think of their debut album, which is called Hold Your Color, by the way, as the greatest drum and bass album of all time. Like,
wow, okay.
The #1 greatest drum and bass album of all time. And there were a lot of people recommending stuff for us to check out in the comments of modern bands that are like this, like other drum and bass people who like incorporate rock and metal into their stuff. And I tried listening to a couple of things, but I didn't really care for the way that they were making their song, the way it sounded. It sounded a little too more modern-y to me. But I think people might have been referencing some of their older albums that were inspired, because Pendulum inspired a lot of bands that are going now in the drum and bass genre.
Yeah.
And one of the bands people kept mentioning, though, is a band called, I'm not going to remember it, but it's a band that I know of, and I have both of their albums. The Chemists, with a Q-E, Chemists. I'm very familiar with that band, and I have both of their albums on CD. And they're pretty great. Okay, let's pause for just a second before we go into the final song, which is fantastic, as I've said.
Some cool harsh vocals from him there at the end. That's not very his style either, but it worked out great.
Yeah, he did that a lot on their newer album, though, if you remember. There were some songs where we were like, who knew he could be like emo rock metal vocalist? And so I think that's where his contradiction was coming from when he didn't know what to do to make new Pendulum music, because I think on one hand he wanted to do the like really beautiful, nice like acoustic guitar stuff like we just heard on the previous track. And like nice slow synths and longer songs, and at the same time he wants to do really intense heavy metal stuff incorporated into it. And you remember you and I were saying we almost wish he would go off and start a new band that's just metal to get all the metal out of his system and then come back, and to like learn how to properly do all that stuff and then come back and use what he learned in a new Pendulum album. But it's kind of tough. He said he is, in the interviews I was reading before we did that reaction, he was saying that he feels more confident now and he knows what a Pendulum song should sound like. And so I'm just excited for them to make an album next year or whenever they come out with. He said he wanted to do one next year, but whenever the next album is, hopefully it's thought of as an album like this one was from front to back. And like, because I think Immersion is special because of the way that album flows and feels like a solid single piece of like masterpiece album. This album doesn't feel that way. The songs do flow in terms of ups and downs and dynamic moments, but really no song connects to the next song. They're not, there's no Island Part 1 and Island Part 2 on this album,
Yeah.
So it's just kind of interesting, but I don't know. We'll see. Okay, now, The Tempest. Definitely, I think, regarded as one of Pendulum's best songs. Are you ready?
I am ready.
Okay. Okay, yeah, whatever. I won't say anything. In 3, 2, 1.
A little bit of Tool here.
Rain sound on the side.
Yeah. Just the tiniest rain stick. This is so Tool, which is a crazy thing to say about Pendulum, yeah.
That's cool.
Oh! It's still super Tool.
Okay.
Acting like it wouldn't happen, making sense of anything that you could find. Because
His local vocals are just so low, there's almost nothing happening. It still feels like they're too quiet.
you'll be there. You must have
This is so different from everything else they do.
You've said that like every song.
Yeah, well, this album's got like life in it.
Yep.
may as well let the rain come down and join the circus of people while you're there.
Interesting singing style that doesn't fit him quite as well. Yeah. Yeah, this is great. About that. I think it's probably one of my favorites on the album.
Oh, good. I'm so glad.
Once again, it's weird that like every time that their songs run super long, it's only just because they took one thing and repeated it too many times. Like the melody that was happening in the last bit. That was like 4 minutes.
Yeah.
It just didn't need to be that long.
I think in the other case of the other songs, I agree with you. But since this is the last song on the album, it's almost like it's trying to like hold on before you rip it off. Like, you know, it's like I do like it. And also it's really cool because halfway through the first part of the song, they play that guitar riff. And then it goes away, and then it continues with the song, and then everything breaks and comes down, and then that's actually the outro of the album, is that little part. And I like it because it's kind of reminiscent of Propane Nightmares. It's a little similar to that kind of the main sort of riff or whatever in that song. It's kind of a little bit of a throwback, but it also is just kind of like an encapsulation of the whole album. And I like how for the first half of it, it's this sort of half tempo, and then it switches and is the drum and bass picking it up. And I agree that it does repeat many times, but I kind of like that it's that long because it's like it's overstaying its welcome. It's like I said, it's trying to hold on before the album's over. And I think it's a great send off.
Yeah, it does have like an ending credits feel to it, especially with that melody starting off in way and then leaving and then coming back to finish it out. There is that thematically makes sense.
Yeah. That song did remind me of a great comment that we got. And I'm really mad that I wish I would have listened to Immersion before we listened to Inertia, because we would have probably gotten this. But at the end of Immersion, the album ends with the sound of someone basically like jumping into the water, and then it ends with the sound of water, and like someone kind of drowning. And Inertia starts with the sound of water and someone going and like emerging from the water. And I think that's just like the most badass, cool thing ever. Cool. And so I like the way that they did that. And I mentioned at the time, like, oh, Pendulum has used water sound effects in the past. That's really cool. But it didn't. I didn't
put the
connect
pieces
with
together.
Yeah. So I just want to point that out.
I like that it did that, especially after that much time. Like, it reminds me of the comedian Stephen Wright, who put out an album in like 1985 called I Have a Pony, and then another one, and I think his next album was like 2010, and it was called I Still Have a Pony, and it was like, that was like 25 years.
That's awesome. That's so cool.
It's so funny.
When I was working with Chris Schoenberg on his band Primal Waters, when we ended the first album, they wanted some sound effects in it of like a sea creature coming out of, or no, that was the beginning of the first album. The first album ends with some sound effects. It's some big booms, some like boom, 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 boom,
cool. Yeah,
and wind and stuff. And so when we started production on the second album, I don't know if it was I'm pretty sure it was my idea because they didn't give a crap about any of the stuff other than just the metal riffs. But I was like, hey, we should start the album with the way we ended the last album. So I went and loaded the same samples and I created a new little intro thing that was with boom boom, and then we created the intro song fading into that. And then when we ended that album ends with a horse riding up. And then I had a voice actor that we used at the studio saying some really cool made up language we made for it. So then when the next album starts, it starts with the horse riding up. And then the main song starts. So like we did that intentionally. And I think that's so freaking cool when bands connect their albums that way. But I think as far as last songs go on albums, I think like Demon Hunter has some of the best final tracks on albums ever, like really great stuff. And this, I would put this song up there with some of the best. Like I think it's really great final song, and I think on Immersion the final song, I like it maybe even a little bit better. But like Pendulum just knows that you need to have a good final song, and almost of all the comments we've gotten on Inertia, a majority of them, I would say, have been people talking about the final track and how it's one of Pendulum's best songs.
Oh.
I don't even remember that song because I never get to it when I listen to the album, but it's the one that's called like Cantor Vice or something like that. Yeah, something. But people really, I think that's the name of a band. Never mind. But people really like that song a lot. And in the video, we were like, "Oh, this is like the best song on the album."
Oh yeah, and Cartagena, the one that you didn't know was the name of the city.
Yes, the name of the city. Yes, people really like that one a lot, and so Yeah, we'll just have to see. But I really think that Pendulum does a good job ending their albums, and I can't personally remember how Hold Your Color ends, especially because, like I said, I specifically went out and sought the British version, which has 2 different songs on it than the like US release or the other release of the album. So I don't know if I've ever even heard the US album final 2 songs or whatever. So, but let us know in the comments if you guys want us to react to that. So, Chris, just final thoughts before we have to end the video here. I'd like to know your thoughts on the album as a whole, and like let the people know what you thought.
I think I would really need to go back and listen to Immersion again, but I think just from the feeling that I have from it over time, this album is the one that I would be most likely to put into my rotation of songs as just like an album full of songs that, you know, can be pulled from at random to be part of it, where it's like, oh, this isn't, you know, an 8-minute kind of, you know, pendulum electronic thing that seems to happen occasionally. Another one. So I don't know. Yeah. Do I want to call it my favorite Pendulum album? I think so, but I would like to give Immersion a fresh listen before I ultimately say that. But this is definitely good stuff. It makes sense that people like it so much.
When we do, since we did this album first, there's a reason I did this first. We've gotten about, I think we're pretty close to 4.5, maybe 5,000 views on our Inertia reaction, which is really great for our channel. That's really good for a non-Metallica, non-Beatles, you know, video. So to me, that tells me that people want more Pendulum. So my plan originally was to have Cody and Chris Schoenberg listen to Immersion. So would you want to try to be there when we listen to Immersion?
Yeah, I think that sounds good.
Because I think that would be a great album for all 4 of us to listen to. We have both considered it to be one of our favorite albums of all time. So I would really love to re-experience that with you again, and then to have Cody be there for like, it'd probably be one of his first modern electronic albums he's ever heard. Yeah. And just to start with that one, boom, you're off to a great start. And then Chris Schoenberg loves this album, but has not heard Immersion yet. So I think it would be really fun.
Cool. That's good to know.
Really fun to hear that. And then, like I said, if people want, we'll do the first album. So any other thoughts before we're done?
No. I mean, I don't know. Not really anything different from what I've said so far.
Okay. Vocals a little too low throughout.
Vocals a little too low.
Mixed a little weird,
otherwise,
but fun.
I don't recall having any mixed complaints, honestly, other than if I had any and I forgot that I said them, then don't come after me about it. But yeah, vocals are a little too low. Otherwise, I love the dynamics of it. I love how much how the songs are all going different places and they feel very cohesive, but also very interesting. It's not nearly as exhausting as Inertia was, for sure.
Yeah. Yep, for sure. And I do think I agree with you. Like, if I just wanted to put on a Pendulum album to enjoy, I would probably put this one on. Maybe, or maybe their new one. But Immersion, to me, is more of a sit down and focus on it the entire time type of album, which is why I think it's a little bit more tedious to listen to.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So, yeah. Okay. Well, thank you, everybody, for watching the video. Thank you, Chris, for doing this and being here. And we had limited time, but I'm glad we were able to fit it in. You didn't think
it worked out great. Perfect.
You didn't think we could do it, but we did it.
I didn't.
And I proved that we can do a video starting to listen to music within the first 5 minutes.
Well, see, the thing is, though, the thing that I've decided is that the only reason we could do it is because this is an electronic album.
Well, maybe, but also I think we did talking between the songs, and then I intentionally rushed us to the next song.
But that's good, though.
But I tried to talk more over the songs, which I think we could, because it is the type of album it is where there's lots of repeating parts. So I don't feel like people would be mad at us for talking over the 8th time they've repeated the dun dun dun.
Because it's an electronic album.
Yeah, I mean, there's Metallica songs are also like 50 minutes long each,
but they're all different.
Yeah,
the song changes 20 times.
That's true. That's a very good point. Yeah. Okay, let us know in the comments what you think. If you want us to do more, we'll be happy to do more. This is a fantastic band that we all on the channel, I think, will end up loving. So let us know. Until next time, we will see you then. I screwed up the outro, but whatever. No one cares. No one's here. Hello, everybody. This is Patrick, and I just want to say at the beginning of the video here that we have finally reached the most important month of the year. Why is it the most important month? The best month, some might say? Well, of course, we get Halloween and we can celebrate all the creepy stuff surrounding that, like horror movies. It's my birth month, so of course we get to celebrate my birthday, and this year I get to turn 39, a fact which is not lost on me how lucky I am to do that. But also October, at least here in the United States, is a month where we think about cancer awareness. It's sort of Cancer Awareness Month. And so I just want to say real quickly, if you've never thought about possibly becoming a donor, it's something that's a very minimally invasive procedure. I can attest to this. On April 4th of this year, I received a bone marrow transplant to help cure and fix my leukemia. I'm now 6 months removed from that. Everything is going great. But I don't think that I would be here if they hadn't found the perfect person, the right match for me. So the more people that are on the donor list, the more people have a chance to find that perfect match. And it is a worldwide donor list. It is not just individual countries. If they wouldn't have been able to find a match for me in the United States, they would have moved around the world to anybody who's part of the registry around the world. So I would really encourage anybody to look into it. I know in the United States we have cancer.gov, which leads you to the National Cancer Institute, and you can learn all about the procedures and everything. Again, it is super, or at least from what I understand, very minimally invasive for people, at least for the bone marrow transplant that I got. You literally just go in for in most cases, 1 day, just for a few hours to the hospital. They hook you up. It's very simple. You can look this all up online. It takes probably like an hour or so to do, and not very difficult for the person being the donor at all. And so I just want to encourage people to look that up. You can look up whatever resources. A good way to do that is to find whatever big hospital is near you in your city or in your county or your state or your country. Find the biggest hospital, go on their website, and they'll have lots of different links to resources that you can use to look up. Again, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the person who donated their bone marrow to me. So I wanted to say that. And then I also wanted to say, as a part of Cancer Awareness Month, you should try not to avoid people who have cancer. I have experienced this myself. Some people, cancer just makes people uncomfortable, whether they're completely unfamiliar with it, like I was before I got it, and you don't really know how to act around a person, or whether you've had someone close to you impacted by cancer and you don't want to think about it. But as someone who has cancer and has gone through a lot of things with cancer, it does help to talk to people about it. And the person with cancer is not going to shy away from talking about it. They shouldn't shy away from talking about it. They want to probably share their experiences, the bad and the good. And so sometimes just being someone to sit and listen is something that can really help. On the channel here, I have many videos talking about my cancer experience. It's very cathartic for me to do that. And then getting all of the comments and people saying, that they're rooting for me and all things like that, sending prayers and thoughts and everything, it really does help me. And so if you have someone in your life or someone that you know that is dealing with cancer, don't shy away from talking to them about it. Don't not interact with them because it makes you or them, you think it'll make them uncomfortable. They are not uncomfortable. They already have cancer. You're not going to make it worse, I promise. You'll only make it better. So since it's October here in the United States, we're celebrating Cancer Awareness Month. I just wanted to sort of draw attention to that a little bit. So look up your local hospital or cancer.gov to find out more information about how you could possibly become a donor. And also, by the way, that includes donating blood and plasma. The amount of times that I was given blood, and especially platelets, was something that is innumerable, something that I needed to have to continue to survive and fight. So even if you're not comfortable becoming like a donor for bone marrow or the other big things that a cancer patient might need to survive, donating blood, donating plasma, donating platelets is very important. And that's something you can do minimally invasive. Everyone knows how you donate blood. So think about it. And see if there's something you can do to help contribute. And if nothing else, find someone in your life that may have or been involved with cancer, and don't be afraid to talk to them about it. Thank you very much for the time and for listening to me, and let's head to the video.